We're back with another 2025 NBA draft video. Draft is just 2 days away, so I'm going to give you guys putting every single NBA draft prospect on a tier list, ranging from star to career bench. Make sure to like and subscribe. Go into the description to submit your video idea. Tomorrow will most likely be my final mock draft. Maybe I'll post it on Wednesday. I'm not sure, because if there's a trade and I don't get the trade in the video, I'm going to be pretty mad because that would kind of ruin my whole thing. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let's start off with Dylan Harper. I'm probably going to throw him into franchise cornerstone for right now. I think he can be an all-star in his career for sure. I'm not so sure about full-on star. Can he be a number one guy on a championship team? I don't know. I mean, we can't tell yet. He's a college basketball player. But yeah, Dylan Harper, what he's able to do with the ball in his hands on the offensive side of the ball, facilitating for teammates, downhill driving, his touch in the mid-range area as well, just perfect for a new generation point guard. Has Cade Cunningham-like abilities, the way he's able to put the ball on the floor. I think he's for sure top 2 tiers. You could argue star, but I'm going to say franchise cornerstone for right now. Next up is Carter Bryant. I think he's going to be a high-end starter. I'm definitely a little bit higher on Carter Bryant than the rest of the draft analysts are right now. I think that Carter Bryant, what we saw from him at Arizona, the flashes we saw as a catch-and-shoot guy, as a guy that can navigate his way in the mid-range and has all the defensive upside I think we could see in a prospect. That's going to be enough for me to put him in high-end starter. I think he will hit his peak in the NBA and be a really solid starter on potentially a championship team. Next up is Derek Queen. Kind of opposite of Carter Bryant, a bit lower on Derek Queen. I think he's going to be a role player in the league. If the three-point jump shot is there, I think that would be great. I think it would be a really good step to his development. But we kind of really haven't seen too much. I mean, we know in college he did take some, was extremely inefficient. I'm scared because the three-point shot's not there, because you also have his defensive liabilities. He could kind of turn into maybe more of a bench specialist. I'm going to throw him to role player, though. I think he's going to be able to put the ball on the floor. We know how crafty he is with the ball in his hands. So much fun to watch at Maryland last year. But the NBA is going to be a whole different story. I'm not scared for Derek Queen, but if his skills don't elevate when he reaches the NBA, I don't know. Could be a bit questionable. Next up is Colin Murray-Boyles. I think he's a perfect guy to throw into the role player. Could kind of be a watered-down Draymond Green for you. Really good switchable defender. Can guard 3 through 5, maybe 2 through 5. We'll see how his foot speed is on the perimeter. But he's also a really good playmaker in that front court. Showed that a lot at South Carolina last year and had the ability to score in the post as well. Is a bit undersized, so I don't see him as a scorer in the NBA, but more of a really good defender and a playmaking hub. I like him in the role player tier. Cooper Flag is next. Most obvious, I think we'll put him into the star in this one. Am I a bit lower on Cooper Flag than the consensus? Maybe, because a lot of people think he might be a generation type of prospect. I don't think he's generational. I think he's a really good, really solid prospect. He's one step down from generational. But, you know, even the guys in next year's draft class, I think Cameron Boozer could be just as good as Cooper Flag. That's just my opinion. I think they're really solid prospects. I think we're going to have really good back-to-back drafts. But let's relax on the generational. I think he will be multiple time, plenty time All-Star, has a chance to be a Hall of Famer, maybe could be a number one on a championship team. I think him and Dylan Harper are probably closer than what some people think, but I will put Coop, for the sake of the video, on a higher tier. Next up is Liam McNeely. I am a UConn fan, but I am going to be a bit lower on Liam McNeely. I know his numbers didn't look great from last season, just because he had that injury in the start of January, which had him at really good shooting splits to really poor shooting splits. What we saw from him at the Combine, though, what we're hearing from the pre-draft workouts is he's shooting the ball well as a catch-and-shoot guy. We know that that is what he's going to be in the NBA, because he doesn't have great foot speed on offense, so might have some struggles to, create a shot for himself. And then defensively, also a lot of questions. So if he's just going to be a catch-and-shoot guy in the NBA, that would be perfect for the specialist tier. Could remind me of maybe, I would say Harrison Barnes, but he's not as athletic as what Harrison Barnes was coming out of UNC. Maybe a Georges Niang, something like that. Sounds kind of tough, but I think McNeely does have a chance to be a really good catch-and-shoot guy, whether that's off the bench. Maybe he's even starting for any NBA team in the NBA. Will Riley is next. I think he'll also be thrown into the specialist tier, or maybe in the raw/developed tier. I don't know. I'll throw him in the specialist. I think Will Riley, right now, is going to be a solid three-point shooter. He's probably going to have his ups and downs. We'll probably see a lot of G League next year. And will give you good perimeter defense. He has a really slim frame, 6'8". He's for sure sub 200 pounds. He is able to put the ball on the floor, I think, better than Liam McNeely. I think if I was to do it, I'd do it him above William McNeely, but he's definitely a worse shooter. Has better defensive upside, but it's tough. He's really raw right now. I don't know if I'll throw him into this tier. Maybe I'll create a new tier down the line, but right now I'll put him into the specialist tier. Ace Bailey's up next. I think he'll be a high-end starter. He'll be higher end than Carter Bryant, but overall I will put him into high-end starter. He's declining a lot of these pre-draft workouts, declining a lot of these pre-draft interviews. I think still, no matter what we saw out of him last year at Rutgers is going to garner him to be a really good NBA player. Now, is his camp trying to make sure he falls to maybe a 6 to, who's got 6? 6 to Washington, or maybe an 8 to Brooklyn, so he gets a lot of shots up in his first 3 years and sets him up for a rookie max extension? Maybe, because if he ends up in Philly, doesn't put up great counting numbers, he's probably not getting that rookie max extension. But I think it would be best for him to be behind a couple guys, be off the bench to start off his career. And Philly's a great place because he can learn under guys like Paul George, who, how he plays might be one of his idols. Can learn under guys like Tyrese Maxey, for guard skills as well. He'll be better to start his career off the bench. His camp kind of not indicating that, though. So he'll be high-end starter. He's going to deal with a lot of inefficiency out the gate if he does fall to a Brooklyn at 8 or Washington at 6, because he's going to get a lot of shots up, but we'll see. Next up, we're going to have Thomas Sorber. I think I'm going to put Sorber into the role player tier. Sorber, in my opinion, is around the 15 to 20 range in terms of prospect. He's a really good shot blocker. We know what he can do in the post with his touch as well. My question is his range going to stretch out to the three-point line? Because, like Derek Queen, he shot some threes last year at Georgetown. He shot them terribly, though. So if that does improve next or in his NBA career, I could see him be probably a role player or a high-end starter is tough. I don't know if he'll be that. But if his shot does improve, I could see him be a role player. But yeah, the mid-range is there. The three-point shot's not that much there. He'll be a role player in the league. Jeremiah Fears is up next. I think I'll throw Fears not in the franchise cornerstone. It's either high-end starter or role player as well. I think I'm going to throw him into the high-end. I'm going to throw him into the role player. Again, I'm definitely a bit lower on Jeremiah Fears than probably the consensus right now. I think that Jeremiah Fears is very willing to drive downhill. He could create his own shot as well. I don't know if I ever see him being a franchise point guard on an NBA team, if that makes sense. He wasn't a terrible playmaker last year at Oklahoma, but I think he's going to have to be more of a willing playmaker. He's going to have to get his teammates involved more. He was pretty inefficient going downhill. If he does improve on that, maybe he could be a high-end starter to franchise cornerstone. But I think him and Derek Queen, two guys I'm definitely a bit lower on the consensus, will probably be over here in role player. Danny Wolf is probably the most obvious specialist I've seen on a tier list. Great three-point shooter, great facilitator. Reminds me a lot of Kelly Olynyk, who's kind of an off-the-bench specialist. So I think Olynyk has definitely played himself into the role player. Jace Richardson, probably another specialist. I mean, Jace Richardson's 6 feet tall. His path to become a really solid, maybe even all-star player in the NBA just slims down that much because he's not a great defender on defense, obviously. He's not a good playmaker, so he's not going to be able to play the pure point guard position. So he's going to be a 6-foot combo guard who can hit an open three, who can create a shot for himself, but probably not at the highest level. For that reason, he's going to be specialist. I'm pretty scared for Jace Richardson on how his career will go because it's not lining up perfectly for him with his measurements, with what he's able to do as a pure point guard. He doesn't have that skill. I'll throw him into specialist for right now. I'm a bit questionable, though. Austin Newell is up next. I think he's for sure another specialist. He'll be a lob threat, hopefully a solid shot blocker. But if he can't hit the three-point shot consistently, then his value in the NBA is going to be very questionable going down the line. Nick Clifford's up next. I think he's going to be in that role player tier. Clifford is a solid three-point shooter. He can get downhill. He can create his own jump shot. He showed all that at Colorado State last year. And I think his game will assimilate well to being a pure role player in the NBA. Get on the floor to play perimeter defense, to grab rebounds, to run through offensive sets. I like him as a role player. Maxime Reynal is next. I think I'll throw him into specialist. Floor stretching big man. It's tough because his defense is not probably where you want it at right now. One of his biggest comps is offensive Brook Lopez. The only thing for Brook Lopez is he's able to get down and block shots on that defensive side of basketball. we didn't see that out of Raynell last year at Stanford, and I'm kind of scared because obviously the NBA is going to be a whole different monster for him. He'll be a floor stretcher though. He'll put the ball on the floor. He'll be a specialist in the league. Yegor Demon's up next. Demon, am I gonna put Demon in high-end starter? I think I'll put him on the second top, maybe the third in role player. Great size, can be a playmaking hub for you, can play positions 1 through 3. We'll have to put on some more weight in the league. I don't know if that's gonna happen because of how he plays. He doesn't play too aggressive, but he's an insane facilitator. You watch his games at BYU last year. Just watching some of those games back, you'll see how impactful he was to running that team's or helping run that team's offense. Will be a for sure role player in the league. Definitely has a chance to be higher up. Maybe I'll make a new tier, but I like what Yegor Demon is able to do. Alex Tui is next. Gonna be honest, I don't know if I see too much of a runway for him to be a great NBA player. I'll probably throw him into the career bench. Career bench is probably you're at the very, very end of a rotation at your peak of powers, or you're not in a rotation. I think that is good for Alex Tui. Next up, Rasheer Fleming. You know how much I love Fleming. He's going to be a high-end starter for me. I'd probably put him over Carter Bryant. What he's able to do on the court, catching and shooting the ball, downhill, defensive, aggressive, and add to that all his great measurables, 6'9" with a 7'5" wingspan. It's just all lining up for him to be such an impactful NBA player. We see what OG Anunoby's doing out of Indiana. I think I would argue out of college. I think Rasheer Fleming probably performed a bit better, but out of Indiana, wasn't the best catch and shoot guy. I think Fleming is the better catch and shoot guy out of St. Joe's. Looks like my light just turned off. But I would say he's for sure going to be a high-end starter in the NBA. Great shooter, great at going downhill, has great chance to be a high-level defender. I'm throwing him into the high-end starter. Next up is Walter Clayton Jr. I think it's either role player or specialist for him. I think I'll throw him in the role player for right now. We know what he does on offense. Great shooter, insane how his jump from 2 years ago at Florida, from being a negative defender to last year at Florida to being a really bought-in defender. If he could really be a good perimeter defender in the NBA level, playing for maybe a Miami Heat, where it can help him extend his offensive and defensive capabilities, I think we could see Clayton become a role player or a high-end role player in the NBA. Next up, we're going to have Kasparis. Kasparis is tough. I don't know how much I see him turn into a high-level, high-end starter for the league, but I would argue that for sure Kasparis is going to be able to be a good playmaker at the next level, especially if he ends up on maybe a New Orleans Pelicans team, find his shooters, get into the pick and roll with Zion and Yves Missi. He could be a role player. Next up, Noah Senge, raw/develop. I know people think that he's going to be an insane defender right out the gate. I don't really see that. I know he's going to, at his highest of powers, he's going to be a great defender, but his offensive game 100% is not there. That's going to be something he has to work on. I think it's a bigger project than what some people think he is. A lot of people think he's lottery. I would definitely prefer more in the 20s. He's definitely a raw/develop type of guy. Cedric Coward's going to go straight into the role player tier for me. Coward can catch and shoot, is able to work his way in the mid-range as well. I think he's one of the most underrated catch and shoot guys in this draft, might be top 3. And what he's able to do with his wingspan on defense for sure is going to be either a role player or honestly, maybe even a high-end starter. I might move some of those guys up at the end of this. Drake Powell, completely honest. I was going to say maybe career bench, but his athleticism will garner him some maybe raw/developmental type of guy. Was a catch and shoot corner guy for North Carolina last year. Was mostly a perimeter defender. We'll see. We'll see, honestly, for Drake Powell. Con Knipple up next. I don't know if there is a situation where he's not a high-end starter. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm probably going to move Jeremiah Fears. I'll move Jeremiah Fears up, and I'll also move Yegor Demon up for right now to be high-end starters. Maybe I'll keep Demon right here. But Knipple, one of the highest floors in this draft class, he's going to be a really good catch-and-shoot guy, can put the ball on the floor, but mostly, if he's going to end up at 4 to the Charlotte Hornets, between Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball, he's going to be a guy that can hit shots. Common Malawatch is up next. He's definitely probably more of a raw type of guy, but he's definitely not the level as Drake Powell or Noah Senge. I'm going to throw him into high-end starter. I'm really high on Common Malawatch because we see what he can do as a rim protector already at Duke last year. he is able, because of his foot speed, is able to switch on to the perimeter as well on defense. And offensively, can be a lob threat, has shown some possibility to stretch the floor at the next level. If he's able to do that, it could be pretty scary for Kai Malawach. But for right now, high-end starter for him. Next, Adu Thiero. This could be a specialist for me. Really solid perimeter defender. Has good offensive skills as well. Aggressive on offense, which is something I really like out of prospects in the late first round to early second round range. He's going to be a good player. Next up is Ryan Kalkbrenner. Kalkbrenner is interesting. Honestly, I think I just might make a new tier probably underneath with the low ceiling tier, even though I don't know. Kalkbrenner is not terrible. I don't know if I'd put him into career bench. I'll say he's a specialist for right now, but I definitely see his offensive game kind of being capped out early in his career. We know what he could do defensively. I don't know about switching on to the perimeter, but shot blocking, he's really good. But yeah, I'm going to add a row below just to be a low ceiling tier, because I think Kalkbrenner could get NBA minutes, in his career, but I don't know if I would see him too much as a specialist type of guy. Could be some guys we could add to that tier later on. Next up, Joan Behringer. He's going to be a raw player. Yeah, I'm excited to see where he ends up on draft night, because I would love to see him in the Hawks maybe, develop under Onyeka Okongwu. Maybe could be a nice pick and roll guy for Trae Young for the future. But Behringer, though, really tough to see how much he'll impact the NBA on day one, if he even does. He's really raw. The jump shot we haven't seen be too there during his time in France. I'm excited to see what he turns out to be, but for right now, he's probably, for me at least, will be the top of this raw/developed tier. Honestly, I might just move Drake Powell down. Next up, Yannick Conan Niederhauser. Honestly, I'll throw him into the raw/developed tier. I'm going to move Drake Powell down. I think he has a good chance to be a really impactful big man on a winning basketball team. He has all the qualities you want to see out of a winning player. I'm excited to see what or where he goes on draft night, because if we see him in maybe an early second or late first or early second situation and he's able to impact the team right away, we could see him end up being a good player. Chaz Lanier's next. All due respect, I don't know if I see him having too much of a great NBA career. Hugo Gonzalez is going to be for sure a raw/developed type of guy. Man, Hugo Gonzalez, I was so high on him to start the year. Barely played at Real Madrid this year, which is really tough to see. Honestly, I wish he didn't. I'm not going to say I wish he went to U.S. for college, but I wish he didn't really come out this year. I think he could make more of an impact next year, but it's all right. I guess he's going to be just really maybe low first round, early second round guy that doesn't see any minutes right away. G League ridden, but honestly, I'm excited to see what he can be in the NBA. Janai Broom, going to be a career bench guy. But next up, we have VJ Edgecombe. VJ Edgecombe, for me, I'm confident in throwing him into, it's either going to be the top of high-end starter or franchise cornerstone. I'm going to make a little bit of a change here. I'm going to throw VJ Edgecombe into franchise cornerstone. I think I might make some switch up at the top with tier names, but what he's able to do perimeter defensively, if he can be a catch-and-shoot type of guy and can show his athleticism on both sides of the ball as well, if VJ Edgecombe can't put the ball on the floor at one point in his career and get himself a bucket, which we saw sometimes at Baylor, but if he can really do that in the league, then the sky's the limit for him. Especially, I think he could be an all-star. I think he could be an all-defensive type of guy. He will be a winning basketball player. Franchise cornerstone for VJ Edgecombe. Might switch some names up at the end for that tier name. Sion James next. I'm going to throw him into low ceiling. I don't think he'll be a career bench guy. Or I think he will be more a career bench guy. Honestly, I could probably change this to like the bottom tier. But Sion James, I think if he's able to be a great perimeter defender, which he was last year at Duke, and he could be a good catch and shoot guy, if he ends up at like 50 to the New York Knicks and might get, he'll have to work his way to get minutes, but if he could be a good perimeter defender and a catch and shoot guy, he can get minutes for a Knicks team. I could see that happening. I don't know though. Next up, Noah Penda. He's pretty raw to me as well. Offensive game, not too much there. Really lanky though, really strong for his frame. If he can hit the three-point shot at the NBA level, we could see him for sure in the specialist or role player tier. Eric Dixon, with all due respect, probably going to be in the career bench tier for me. Next up, we have Ben Sarif. Ben Sarif. I'm probably between role player and specialist for Sarif. I think Sarif, as a playmaker last year for Ratio Farm, that's something I could see translate to the NBA. I would like to see him go maybe 30 to the Clippers, be under James Harden for a couple of years, learn the NBA system through a great coach in Tyronn Lue. 30 would make sense for Sarov. I really think he's going to have a productive NBA career. I don't know why he's fallen down the board so much. I guess not a lot of playing time, maybe some shooting disability as well. But I think he'll be a really good NBA player. I'll throw him in the specialist tier for right now. Next up, Tyrese Proctor. Probably, honestly, is Tyrese Proctor going to make it into my specialist tier? I'm going to say he has a low ceiling for right now. If he is in this tier, he would be the top of this tier. I'd probably have it like this. But Proctor, good three-point shooter, great facilitator, has good stats at 6'5". Perimeter defense, we'll see. But as a player, I think he'll end up being maybe the end of rotation type of guy for a team. I would like him in the low ceiling tier, maybe even in the specialist tier. Cam Jones up next. He's someone for sure I'll throw into that specialist tier. Great scorer, showed to have good playmaking abilities last year at Marquette too. If he's able to shoot the ball at a high percentage, which he was able to do in his first 3 years at Marquette, he's for sure going to make that specialist tier. Trey Johnson up next. He's going to be a franchise cornerstone for me. I'm going to put him ahead of VJ Edgecombe and behind Dylan Harper. Talked about so much how much I love Trey Johnson as a scorer in college and in the NBA potentially. How much he's just able to find whatever spot on the court and just raise above the defense. His jump shot is pure. Like I've said many times, reminds me of a Devin Booker, a Seattle Ray Allen, even a current Cam Thomas, obviously a bit taller. Just offensively, just so gifted. His game's going to work so well in the league. Next up, Nolan Traore. Ooh, Traore is interesting. Am I going to put him on the top of raw/developed tier? Or am I going to throw him into the maybe specialist? Honestly, call me crazy, I'm going to throw him into the role player tier. I think Traore is going to be a good NBA player. The jump shot, we saw it at last year for St. Quentin. Not good, but he's going to be a really good playmaker. What he's able to do downhill separates himself, in my opinion, from the guys in that specialist tier. I'm higher on Nolan Traore. For me, he was the third overall prospect going into this year. I still think, with or without a jump shot in his rookie season, he's going to make an impact on an NBA team. Hansen Yang, last guy. Yang, I'm either throwing into the specialist or low ceiling. I think I'll throw him into the low ceiling, but he'll be the top of the low ceiling. I like Hansen Yang as a floor stretcher. He was really crafty from what we saw last year in his film. I think he'll be a solid NBA player. I don't know if I'll ever see him in the specialist tier or role player tier, though. So that's going to be it with the players on the tier list. I might change some of these names up because I don't know if this is crazy. I feel like that's a little bit too crazy. So I'm gonna have Coop at the top still. I'm going to have VJ and Dylan Harper being kind of my 1A, 1B in the franchise cornerstone. VJ Edgecombe, maybe I'll throw him at the end of high-end starter or the beginning of high-end starter. Then I'll go Ace Bailey, Rasheer Fleming, probably I'll quote Common Malawatch, Rasheer Fleming. Then I'll go Knipple, Bryant, Fears. That makes sense. Honestly, maybe I'll bump Fears down for this. But yeah, this is just about what I would have for if I was putting every NBA player in a tier list. I think for sure the high-end starter/role player might be a bit jumbled up. You could argue some guys higher, some guys lower. But this is what I'm going to have. Hope you guys enjoy this video. See you guys next time. Peace.